Hello, my name is Kyle Turnbaugh.
And I'm Anna Newlin from Miami Television News. Today it is my pleasure to be able to sit down with Emmy Award-winning actor and producer Bradley Whitford of West Wing, Get Out, and many more titles. Bradley Whitford is here at Miami as part of his lecture series, The West Wing Effect, 25 Years of Impact on Political Disclosure. Bradley, how are you today?
I am good. I'm thrilled to be here in this really beautiful, very professional studio.
All right, well, to get us going, so often I think we see a lot of people are driven away from the arts and working in film and TV because a lot of people are just told that there's not a lot of opportunity or money in it. And early on in your life, who really inspired you or gave you the opportunities and resources to explore acting and working in film and TV?
Well, I feel really incredibly lucky in so many ways. I had parents who did not remotely push me in any way, but I could tell were tickled. My dad especially was somebody who was a frustrated musician, and I could tell I have a vision of him standing, taking flash pictures at every play I was ever in. I was part of a generation where we took for granted arts programs in schools, which I think is unfortunately no longer the case. Only, privileged school districts get that. I think it's so important, not so that kids will go out and become professional actors, but I really do think that the arts are the way we sort of discover how to be a human being. I would never, it wouldn't be responsible to encourage people to go into show business, but there is nothing more developmentally wonderful for a child than to be a part of putting a production together. So I'm grateful for that. I had a dad who didn't push me to specialize too soon. I went to college. I, on a whim, auditioned for Juilliard, and I kind of confused my dad, and I explained that it was like med school with guaranteed unemployment at the end. And then I got to go there, which was very lucky. But yeah, the business, the weirdest thing about it is the activity is the most wonderful thing I can imagine, and the business is quite horrible. I wish I had better news.
So you've had the opportunity to work with so many diverse and brilliant people in both film and television over your career. What has been your favorite set to work on?
Wow. Favorite, the West Wing set was, that was an extraordinary, it was 7 years, it was 22 episodes, it was at least 9 months a year. That is a kind of fellowship that will never happen again the way we shoot shows now. Now I'm working on Handmaid's Tale, which is an amazing, wonderful, absolutely one of the greatest sets I've ever been on. I would say in terms of creativity, that set, it's very strange because if you've seen the show, it is extremely dark. And it is one of the sweetest, most, I always tell the story of, we shoot it in Canada where they are stereotypically, but also genetically the sweetest people in the world. And we're doing this show about this incredible, horrific dystopian future. And one day the assistant director came in and said, okay, I don't want to rush you, but I think we should get the nooses on the girls, which was a very bizarre moment. But the West Wing set, I knew those people so well. That was exciting. Spielberg's set was great too.
going back to West Wing, and your lecture series, which is focused on West Wing, which you're speaking on today. And how do you think working on that show affected your relationship with politics, and how do you think it might affect how other people view politics and their relationship with it?
Well, I was just saying before we rolled, I can't believe people are still watching it because it's almost 25 years since it was on. I'm proud of the show because, Aaron is not cynical. There are artists who come along in music in my generation. Bruce Springsteen is not cynical, it's aspirational. And I'm proud that the show was able to show politics and public service in a non-cynical light. I think that it's a long discussion, but I think politics is the way we create our moral vision for the world. I think sometimes we think it's culture, and culture's very, very important, but if we don't follow through with the politics of it, I always say West Wing won't help you if you had a pre-existing condition, and Handmaid's Tale won't help you if you're an underage rape victim. The political, you need to follow through with the political. You can't just leave it at the cultural level.
So what advice do you have for young people who are looking to enter the film and TV industry from both an acting and a producing standpoint?
I was talking to a kid a couple of years ago who was graduating from Juilliard, and she said, if I'm good and I work hard, I can have a career, right? And I found myself saying, not necessarily, but I do believe this. If you work hard and you're good, you can find a place in storytelling. I have two, these are, two name drops of mine, Aaron Sorkin and my old friend Lynn Miranda. At one point Lynn wanted to be acting, thank God. Thank God. Aaron wanted to be an actor, thank God. William Shakespeare, thank God. And there are many, we limit ourselves. As an actor, I am a pawn in storytelling. There are many different ways to approach storytelling. And I believe if you're passionate about it and you work hard, you can be a part of storytelling if you don't limit yourself to a self-imposed limiting definition of what you can do. And I've seen that work out for many, many people. Generate your own stuff. That's my advice.
Yeah. And kind of going off of that, your transition from just focusing on your career as an actor, and now you've moved into production as well. And how's that transition kind of worked for you?
There's something infantilizing if you're as lucky as I am. You do realize you're a pawn in storytelling. You're at the mercy of how you're perceived, what you look like. You've been subjected to many, many different people directing. And you start to have an opinion about how you want to direct things. I got a chance to write a couple of episodes of West Wing, and writing is really important to me. There was a dear friend of mine, an advocate for access to healthcare named Adi Barkan, who passed away recently, and I produced a documentary about him. But part of getting older, if you're lucky as an actor, is wanting to take more control of the story. And again, I urge all people at all stages of their lives to open up their definition of what they can do. Actors tend to take on, just because of the entry process, a psychology of submission. that is really kind of corrosive, because you have to get chosen and somebody has to write it. And generating your own stuff is the only way to keep yourself out of a position where you're basically handing your self-esteem on a platter to a psychotic named show business. Try to avoid that.
Well, that is all the time we have for today's interview. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio and coming around and answering these questions.
School is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.